Hello, hello. We are live. Hello, everybody. I hope you are well. And today we are talking about welcome and hello. I just want to make sure we are live. We are live. Welcome, everybody. We are here for, oh my goodness, is this day 3 for our event? We are going to be talking about another garden today, another teaching garden that you can incorporate into your outdoor classroom. And I am absolutely thrilled to be here, and I would love to know in the comments, no matter if you're watching the replay, if you're watching live, I'd love to know what has blown you away so far to get you so excited about refurbishing or regenerating or even getting ready for next year, this next school year, in your outdoor classroom. I would love to know what is getting you excited and what's been sort of the favorite maybe teaching garden so far. So we've talked about gardens that attract wildlife. We've also talked about gardens that feed. And today we are talking about gardens for art and beauty. So this is, I am so excited about this because it's such an interesting component. And again, in our last session, I talked a little bit about where these four types of gardens came from. And so I'm excited to now go into the Gardens for Art and Beauty. I want to preface this session with a story. And again, I started yesterday's talk talking about my gardens that feed and how I almost gave up on it. And so what I did was, I figured, okay, I have all these raised garden beds, and why don't I plant bulbs in them? So, so I did that instead. So I'm like, okay, we'll just swing on the other side, and we'll just focus on gardens for art and beauty because how hard can it be? So that's what we did. I took one of my raised garden beds that I would normally plant food in. I worked with we have a program called the Secret Gardens Outdoor Classroom. And so with the children, we planted bulbs. And one of the parents was sort of skeptical. Oh, we're not going to do that because the animals always get it. But for some reason, this year, the flower gods were with us, and we had the most amazing crop of tulips and daffodils and all sorts of beautiful plants, and they just all came up. And they're mostly tulips. So they was absolutely gorgeous. The color was gorgeous. It was eye-catching. When you walked into the garden, all your stress just washed away. And that's exactly what this type of garden does. It provides aesthetics and beauty in your outdoor classroom that you can't create. Again, you can create it with all the other types of gardens, but this is kind of the focus of these types of gardens. So we're kind of looking at this type of garden as a flower garden. And so what we did was when the we each child was able to make a bouquet of flowers, and that really got me thinking in terms of this has just been the last couple days that I want to make sure I get the name right, but it's we are going to we have a summer program that's happening now in the Secret Gardens, and it's a parent-child program. And I thought, okay, well, we've got our incredible gardens that feed, and they are all flourishing, and we're changing over and into the hot weather garden, warm and hot weather season plants, and there's that. But now we have this other space, and which is we did the bulbs, and the bulbs have come and gone. And so now I'm thinking and scratching my head, what would be a good, what could we cycle through? And the bulbs are still in that garden, but what could I cycle through? So I thought, and I thought this could be a really wonderful opportunity to create a space where children are growing flowers and giving them away. So, what a wonderful space to, or an opportunity to teach children empathy and generosity and grow flowers that they can freely give away. So that's what we're doing. And so the first thing I did was, if you know anything about me and you followed me and you're within our community, you know that I love signs. I love adding signs to an outdoor classroom. I think that's what makes the outdoor classroom an outdoor classroom. It identifies the different spaces that you're creating. And so I have signs for our mud kitchen, I have signs for our art garden, I have signs for the makerspace garden, all these different areas in our spaces. I have these signs, and they're just homemade signs. The kids help me paint them and whatnot. So I've decided that, and this is literally this past week, I've created this new space, and just in time for our lovely session. So this is we're calling it Generosity Grove, and this is the space where we have already had an incredible abundance of bulbs that are, and hopefully they will live on for they will replenish next year. And we're calling, so that's good. And we've starting to plant seeds and flower seeds and whatnot and put those. And I bought some other plants that we could put in. And we are going to start the Bouquets of Kindness project. And I can't think of a better way to incorporate something like that into your outdoor classroom to really teach children empathy. So I'm so excited about this project. I have no idea where it will go, but I know that over and over and over, I hear research being done about kindness and gratitude and how that makes ourselves feel better and how that makes and whatnot. So thinking about that as we are going through today's topic and all the benefits of creating a garden for gardens for art and beauty. So I want to ask you a couple questions before we start, and those are thinking about when your children enter your outdoor space. So they're entering your outdoor space, whether it's your backyard, whether it's your outdoor space at outdoor classroom at your school. What do you think, or what do you imagine that you want them to feel when they are entering the space? So this is sort of a combination of all the different types of gardens that we are going to eventually put together. So we're talking about different elements in these types of gardens, and then also how we can put them together to create your own one-of-a-kind outdoor classroom. But what I want you to think about is when you walk into an outdoor space, and just think of different outdoor spaces that you enter. What is it that you feel? What is it that you want children to feel? What do you want to feel? Is it something about that space that is causing you to stress out? Is there something about that space that's relaxing? Is there something about that space that you kind of you want to be relaxed, but you're not quite there yet? So I've been working with some clients that are asking to work their backyard, and they have these beautiful backyards, but they're not necessarily using it because they don't know what to do with it. And oftentimes they go out into the backyard and they get stressed out. And I can totally understand that. I have a front and a backyard, and I've been working so much on the front yard because that's where our secret gardens is, and I get very excited about that. And then I go to the backyard and I'm like, oh, there's just so much work and tending to be done there that I tend not to go there. So thinking about just that, what can we do? What are the simple steps that we can make and take to create these aesthetic, beautiful spaces and gardens? But as we start doing that, I want you to think about the process. What is it? What do they feel now when you're walking into that space? And just make observations. Is it sort of you going around the corner and thinking, oh wow, and thinking go another corner, wow, this is just beautiful. That's what I wanted in my space, and that's what I'm getting. That's what's so exciting is that we had kids come today, and we had some new families come, and it was sort of, oh, around every single corner there was something exciting and new. And that's the I don't know if vibe is the right word, but that's the intention of creating these sort of secret gardens in our outdoor classroom. And they're teaching gardens. They're spaces where children can go. I had one of the adults tell me today that she has that was with this child, and they do a lot of things together and whatnot. And she came up to me after class and she says, "You know what? He never wants to go anywhere else." And today, I said we were coming to the secret gardens and to see Victoria, and he's a little guy. He was practically putting his own pants on. So he was just so excited. But to create a space where children feel like it's their home. And part of that is this, it's I'm going to say it wrong. It's aesthetically pleasing. How about that? So those questions. So why add art and beauty? Um, so I want to talk a little bit about some of the importance of it. Why even bother? Why bother to spend time on plants or and pretty plants and flowers? So we know, and we've talked about pollinators, and we know, but what if we just want it to be beautiful? So even if you go into an indoor space, the same thing goes for an outdoor space. There's something about if spaces are show that there's been love that's put into it, that is going to engage and motivate whoever is invited to that space. So if we're inviting children to an outdoor space that is beautiful and the wind is blowing, the weather's beautiful, and it doesn't necessarily you only go there when it's beautiful. It can be aesthetically beautiful when the weather's not so great. So thinking about during all weather, but right now we're just thinking about summer. This is going to make the learning experience more engaging and more captivating and more, again, like I said, with that little guy, he wanted to come to the secret gardens because he knew he had a memory and a wonderful memory of being in the secret gardens. There's all these different spaces and I get a lot of, oh, they're just in their element. And this is exactly the feeling and the experience that I want every single child in every single school to experience. And I want teachers and educators to say they're in their element. They're just in their element. So to get there, we need to really look at our spaces and think about how we can make them more engaging. So if we are adding flowers, for instance, and if we're inviting and creating a generosity grove, so we have this really fun name, which makes it sort of fun and playful, and we maybe put a project around it, it creates intention in the outdoor space. Um, so this therefore enhances the learning experience. So we talk a lot about sensory, and a lot of kids today are suffering from sensory issues. They're just not getting enough um, sensory stimulation. And so, therefore, it's when you're providing these different environments aesthetically, they're going to improve their focus, their memory retention, and their overall learning outcomes. And it seems so simple, but I think we end up being our worst enemy. And um, so therefore we put these negative voices in our head that, oh, I'm not a gardener, or I'm not a landscape architect, oh, I don't have time, all of these barriers to not allow us to just go for it. So number three is it enhances the emotional well-being, where again, like I said before, when you walk into a space, you just know that it is, this is beautiful. You've got the birds singing, and again, to attract the birds, we have the gardens that attract wildlife. So they all kind of go together. And thinking about the beautiful plants and the beautiful colors that can be connected to that, and some of that can be connected to literacy. So if there's plants that, and then these lists, these book lists and plant lists are all in our Exploring Nature in Summer Masterclass. And these can reduce the stress and promote mental health and just create positive energy. And again, number four is that same connection to nature. That's we know that's going to happen. That environmental stewardship. Number five, um, just creating inspiration when we are planting flowers. And then there's so many different types of flowers, and there's some flowers that are especially wonderful to grow with kids. They look like Dr. Seuss flowers. We can make stories. It's just inviting, And to create, I had another little girl come today who was brand new, had not come to the Secret Gardens today, ever. It was her first day. And she was really touching the flowers and she had an incredible vocabulary for 3 years old. And she was talking about prickly and all these different things. And there was one plant that's very, it's not invasive, but it does reseed a lot. So it was okay. But the mom was very lovely and said, what are the rules around picking flowers? I said, well, we have this new Generosity Grove, which will be our picking garden, but this particular one you can pick because there's so many of them and it sometimes can be not in the best place. So she picked it up, she picked it, and there were roots. And so we talked about the roots and the texture of the flower and whatnot. So it was just exciting. It's an opportunity for kids to be creative and to really invite older children, and then we can have journal and sit spots, and they can have their favorite flower that they want to study. All of that goes into creativity and inspiration, but it has to be done on their time. If kids are not ready to be engaged and are not ready to be force fed all of this information, taking them out into these outdoor spaces that are beautiful is a wonderful way to do it. The other thing that we talk about in the Exploring Nature in Summer Masterclass in this particular garden is that we're not just talking about flowers and we're not just talking about plants. We're also talking about art and how can we incorporate art into our gardens, that meaning that we can do art outside and we can bring art and that type of thing, but can we incorporate a stage, can we incorporate all these other uh, a puppet theater, something that is organic and outside that can be within our outdoor space. So that's, we get very, very heavily involved into not just the plants, but also the art and the beauty in terms of performance art, all of those types of art as well in our outdoor space. So it's super, super fun. And then community and social interactions, number 6, and really creating these beautiful outdoor spaces again where we can gather our community and encourage collaboration. So when we are going to start our Bouquets of Kindness project, this is going to be okay. So we're going to create bouquets. So who needs a bouquet? So obviously they can do the parents, but can we take it a step further? Can we go into the local nursing home? Can we go into different places where folks don't have access to these outdoor spaces, and that we can bring a little love and light into their outdoors, into their indoor spaces and that type of thing. So I'm just my mind is spinning, and oh, that just opens up a whole nother door to a whole nother community. That wow, we can really make this an intergenerational experience. We've got the little ones, and wow, what we can connect them with elders and all of that magic that happens between elders. So there's magic that happens between kids and nature and even elders in nature. And so it all becomes this dichotomy of connecting everybody. Um, the next one is using all of this as an educational tool. So there's a reason why I call these teaching gardens, because that's what we're creating. We're not just creating the next flower garden. We are using these flower gardens and stages and these gardens as art and beauty, as teaching gardens and learning gardens. There's spaces where there's a distinct different plant, and there might be a plant with the letter next to it, the letter that like an aster, and we might have an A. It might be that's how they're learning how to learn the alphabet. It might be that there are a certain amount of plants and we do numbers. All of that is the educational opportunities that we can bring into the these teaching gardens. And it's exciting because at the end we're going to mix and match, pull favorite elements. So think about what are the elements that you want to pull from these teaching gardens into your outdoor classroom. And again, that is what we really dive deep into that in with our Exploring Nature in Summer Masterclass. And if you're interested in that, there's going to be a link. And that class is going to start on July 3rd. That's our kickoff. And then we will have four live sessions that are going to be Wednesday evenings, that the following Wednesday evenings from 7 to 8 Eastern Standard Time p.m. And they are will all be recorded, so if you can't make the lives, that's okay. But this is also going to be a part of the we want to really honor your time and your energy and towards taking these master classes. It's included in the Circle membership. So if you really want to join us and really join our family, which is just, it is a family. We meet all the time and talking about all these topics and troubleshooting and whatnot. So these master classes are included in the membership, and I can give you more information about that. And happy to answer any questions. But think of it as a family. If you're looking for community to troubleshoot, and it's just all folks and educators from all over the country just coming together and being like-minded and really wanting to move this movement forward. All right, so here we go. We want to go into a few of the things that you want to think about if you are creating a garden that for art and beauty. So when you are thinking about creating, and you think, okay, where should I put it? And it can be sprinkled throughout your outdoor classroom, but you really want to think about and ask yourself some questions. And so some of those are the following. So you want to think about your purpose and your vision. What's your purpose and your vision for this particular garden type? And again, I have flowers and gardens throughout the Secret Gardens Outdoor Classroom, but I do have one space that we now are calling where we planted the bulbs, which I took one of the raised garden beds that was supposed to be for food because I was ready to give up. We put that into uh, the bulbs, and now I'm like, okay, that's it. That's going to be the gardens, one of the pieces of the Gardens for Art and Beauty, and that is now turning into Generosity Grove. I just absolutely love it. And again, that's going to lead into a certain project, which is going to be another arm of the Secret Gardens. We're going to start collaborating with other organizations, and that and just for free. Why not? So really the purpose and the vision of your outdoor space. It does not have to be anything dramatic or complicated. It can be for just simply artistic inspiration. It can be for environmental sustainability. It can be a combination. It can just be a flower garden. Whatever you want it to be, it can be. But the important thing is you ask yourself what it should be. If you're working with older kids, you can even ask them and have them be a part of the process. You want to think about the location and the space. How much sun are you getting? What will you be the sun, soil, the proximity to your classroom or your home. You want to think about the design layout. And again, it being a children's garden, we just planted bulbs. They just went to town. So there was no design at all. It was just plant them where you want to plant them. I did have a square foot garden set up. So each child did get their own box square. And so that was pretty cool. But other than that, they just planted, and we planted some seeds today, and they just planted. They just poked their holes and put the seeds in. So there may be some rhyme or reason. There may be, again, depending on the age and the stage of your children, that design and layout can be a whole part of your curriculum. So lots of possibilities. Maintenance, determining who will be responsible for the upkeep, Is there a dedicated team that's going to take care of this outdoor space? Is it going to be you? Do you have a team? It's really important to determine that, even for your whole outdoor classroom. Is it going to be you're the one that's going to be kind of taking care of it? Is it going to be a group of children, older children, volunteers, so on and so forth? Budget and resources, always a good question to ask. Do you need to raise money for your outdoor space? And then oftentimes I get schools that call me and they want to work with me, and and I feel like I'm actually saving them money because I'm showing them more of the do-it-yourself opportunities rather than going out and buying everything and saying, oh, okay, this is an outdoor classroom. And oftentimes with the educational budget and resources, schools forget that okay, if we just create the outdoor classroom, then it's going to be fine. But what they forget is, you know what they forget? To train their teachers to actually use the outdoor space. So I've seen it over and over and over again that they build it and they will come. What you want to do is build it with the teachers, build it with creating it a little bit at a time, not necessarily creating this big old fancy outdoor classroom and then figuring out how you're going to use it. And then think, oh gosh, I really wish I put that over here rather than there. So really taking the time, and that's where my trainings and consultation comes in really handy, because I feel like I end up saving them money, and then they can put that money that they're saving into teacher training. So that is something, if you're interested in that, you can always reach out to me at Victoria at Outdoor-Classrooms.com. Okay, the next one is accessibility. How accessible is your outdoor space? That's a big question. Um, just the environmental impact, safety. You want to make sure that the plants, especially the flowers in your gardens for art and beauty, are not poisonous. So there are flowers out there that are poisonous that you do not want to be using with children in your outdoor space. So you want to make sure that you know which ones those are. And again, those are the plant lists that are all going to be offered in our Exploring Nature in Summer Masterclass. I'm so excited about it. It's just turning out fantastic. So that's it. That's what I have for you today. And the last one is to think about community involvement. How can you incorporate your community in the planning, the maintenance of your garden? And that's going to really foster a sense of ownership in your outdoor space. That is the key. That is the key. But again, I can't wait to update you on the it's not mine, it's our Secret Gardens community, the Generosity Grove in the Secret Gardens outdoor classroom. I'm so excited to update you on the Bouquets of Kindness project and encourage you to start one as too. So hop on over to the website, find out what's going on. We do have an upcoming free event, which I'm inviting all of you who are listening and in our community to join us. It's on July 9th from 7 to 8 Eastern Standard Time. If you go to my website, you can get the link. We have Angela Hanscom coming to join us. She is the author of Balanced and Barefoot, which is an absolutely must read for anybody who is working with children outdoors or indoors, and they should be getting outdoors. She really has articulated the why outdoors, and has done the research. She's an occupational therapist, so she really speaks profoundly about the impact of sitting in front of a screen and all of that. So go outside, enjoy the sunshine. I know it's hot, but I look forward to seeing you in the Exploring Nature in Summer Masterclass. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.